Hello, I salute every one of you. This is Coach Njomi. I've come again with a very great revisions. So we're going to look at the revision of economics paper 2 2020. I have all the answers for you. You don't need to bother. You don't need to stress yourself. Just stick around, watch the video. All the answers are available. The papers are available. You can get the papers for free and keep revising and come back to this video. Look at all the answers I'm going to give you. They are perfect, accurately correct. So stick around. See you. Okay, so as you can see here, this is economics paper 2 June 2020. Okay, so here is the paper. So we're going to do a revision of this, and I'm going to answer all the questions for you. All you have to do is to take your pen and your notebook, and so here we have the questions 1 2 3 4 5. So what is required is this. So they said you are required to answer any 5 questions. Only the first 5 questions answered will be marked. All questions carry equal marks. Okay, so you are reminded of the necessity for good English and orderly presentation in your answers. Have you seen that? Good English and orderly presentation in your answer. So we are going to do a revision of this economics 2020, and I will answer every one of them. So okay, so now I am on my notepad. I've answered all the questions. Remember, they say we should answer 5 questions. So I've answered the 5 questions that are very needful for you, that you can go in and know exactly what it entails. So right now, let's go to question 1. Okay, question 1 was talking about, it says, explain 4 functions of an entrepreneur. What are the 4 functions of an entrepreneur? Number 1 is innovation. So an entrepreneur is somebody that can innovate, meaning that you can innovate the business. Is somebody that can make the business become new. When we talk about innovation, we talk about bringing your business to be new. So that is the first thing an entrepreneur does. So the second thing is risk taking. So an entrepreneur can take risk concerning his business. If you are an entrepreneur, you can take risk about your business. So the third thing is that entrepreneur is a decision maker. The third function of an entrepreneur is that he is a decision maker. He's in charge of decision making when it comes to deciding about the future of the company. So the last function of an entrepreneur is organizing. An entrepreneur can organize his business perfectly. He can organize his business perfectly well. So these are the 4 functions of an entrepreneur. So I think we have answered this one. The second questions on that list they ask is, explain any 4 of the following concepts. Number 1, circulating capital, social capital, fixed capital, variable capital, average fixed cost. Okay, so these are all that I've explained here. So there's also marginal cost, but I did not put it, but because I had already my 4. Now, how can we explain what is a circulating capital? They say we should explain any 4. So I start with circulating capital. Circulating capital is money required for day-to-day operations, such as expenses. So circulating capital is money required for day-to-day operations such as expenses. Number 1. Number 2, social capital. What is social capital? Social capital is a set of shared values or resources that allows individuals to work together in a group to effectively achieve a common purpose. That is social capital. You can take note of all this and you can write them down, or you can come back to this video and watch the answers. The third is fixed capital. What is fixed capital? Fixed capital is the value of capital assets available for production purposes at a given point of time. Example of fixed assets include property, plant, equipment. Number 4, remember they say we should explain before. Number 4 is variable cost. What is a variable cost? Variable costs are costs that change as volume changes. Examples of variable costs are raw materials, commissions, delivery costs. Right? So we also have credit cards, which are also part of variable cost. So we have actually answered question 1. Okay, so we have answered question 1. Now let's go to question 2. Okay, let's go to question 2. Okay, this is question 2. Now what does question 2 says? It says, explain 4 ways by which trade between countries is restricted. That we should explain 4 ways in which trade between countries is restricted. Number 1 is embargo. Now what is an embargo? They say we should explain. Embargo is a political decision to stop transactions with individual countries, including exports and imports. Number 2 is currency. Devaluation of currency makes it difficult for countries to trade together. Remember, we are looking at explain four ways by which trade between countries is restricted. Number 4, export control. Export control has to do with the taxes imposed during export and import. Number 4, quotas. Quotas restrict total supply and therefore increase the domestic price of a good or service on which they are imposed. So those are the 4 ways that trade is restricted, right, between countries. The big questions asks and says, explain any 3 reasons why a country will impose restrictions on international trade. Explain any 3 reasons why a country will impose restrictions on international trade. Number 1, tariffs. Tariffs. A tariff is a tax on imported goods and services. A higher tax will discourage international trade. So, number 2, anti-doping. Anti-doping will greatly discourage trade between countries. Quotas. A quota is a direct restriction on the quantity of a good or service that may be imported during a specified period. So that is it about the 3 reasons why country impose restriction on international trade. Now we are going to see the second part. Advance any 3 reasons why trade restrictions should be eliminated. So why do you think that countries should no longer impose trade? Why should it be eliminated? Right? They should not impose restrictions on trade. Number 1 is that it harms consumers. It harms consumers. Consumers will be affected since prices of goods will increase. So the consequence of restrictions is that consumers are affected. The second one is potential trade wars. The country which tariffs are imposed may respond by doing the same thing. Third, harm to domestic producers. Barriers on trade can hurt domestic producers who rely on imported inputs for their productions. So those are the 3 reasons why trade restrictions should be eliminated. So we have answered the second point of these revisions. Remember, we are on revisions. So we have answered the second point. Now we are going to go to the third point and answer the third point. Don't bother, I have everything in my notepad. I have gotten all the answers for you. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, this is it. The third one, that says it is asked that with the help of examples, distinguish between a direct and an indirect tax. distinguish between a direct and an indirect tax, and they said you should give examples. So this is it. Direct tax is paid directly to the government and cannot be shifted like federal income tax. So direct tax is a tax that you pay directly to the government, right? While indirect tax, such as businesses, property taxes, can be passed on or shifted to others. So indirect taxes are taxes that you pay through properties, through houses, and that can be shifted to others. It is not actually directly to the government. Now, the second part is that distinguish between a tax incidence and an impact tax. So don't forget that we have this third one says that with the help of examples. The example here is like federal income tax. That is an example. The example of indirect tax is property taxes. That is an example. Businesses is an example of indirect tax. Okay, distinguish between a direct incidence and an impact tax. Okay, that tax incidence and an impact tax. Distinguish between a tax incidence and an impact tax. Tax incidence is upon the person who eventually pays it, and tax impact is upon the person for whom the tax is collected. So tax incidence is a tax that you pay, right, that a person pays or individual pays, while tax impact is a tax upon the person from whom tax is collected. So the person of which they collect tax from is tax impact. Okay, so then the next question says, explain 4 advantages of an indirect tax. 4 advantages of an indirect tax. Remember, we are in a revision, right? So you can download it on our website and revise it again and again. Number 1, indirect taxes are convenient. Okay, so if indirect taxes are convenient, consumers don't feel burdened when paying indirect tax. So indirect taxes are very convenient, and when consumers pay, they don't feel burdened by it. Everyone can contribute in indirect taxes. Unlike direct tax, indirect taxes are paid by everyone who purchases a commodity. So unlike direct tax, right, indirect taxes are paid by everybody when you consume a good. For example, they just increase taxes on mobile money, on transaction 1-to-1. So that is an indirect tax. You're actually paying the tax by using either credit or internet and all the like. So that is an indirect tax. Indirect taxes cannot be evaded. Anyone who buys a commodity pays the tax. So you cannot run away from indirect tax. You cannot escape from indirect tax. You must pay indirect tax. So it cannot be avoided because we buy commodities. Remember, indirect tax can be added upon any commodity that we consume. I'll take example like credit, data, airtime, mobile money, and all the like. So we have answered the third section of this economics paper 2. Now we are going to go to our fourth question that we choose. Let's go to the fourth question. Okay, this is it here. Now the fourth question, it says state and explain 4 factors affecting the supply of plantains in the local market in Cameroon. Now when they ask, this is a very technical question. Actually, this has to deal with demand and supply. When they say state and explain 4 factors affecting the supply of plantains in the local market in Cameroon, they actually say that state and explain 4 factors affecting supply in Cameroon. That's exactly what they are saying. But they use plantain. If you are not technical, you don't know exactly what to do, you're going to be confused. Okay, now what are those factors? Number 1, price of goods. The price of plantains are high, making it difficult to supply. So when the price of the plantains are high, it becomes difficult to supply. 2, poor roads. Poor roads are one of the major factors affecting the supply of plantain, transportation, and all the like. Number of sellers. The number of sellers affects plantain supply. So the number of sellers will actually determine the the supply of plantain in the market. Public policy. Government policy can greatly affect the supply of plantain. So when government put some type of policies, high taxes, so it affects the supply of plantain. Now let's go to the B side of this revision. It says, state and explain 3 factors affecting elasticity of supply of a commodity. What are the 3 factors? Number 1, time to produce. The amount of time it takes producers to respond to price changes is extremely important to the elasticity of supply. So the time to produce affects elasticity of supply. Number 2, available of scarce resources. If an economy is using the majority of its scarce resources, businesses will not be able to increase production. So availability of scarce resources affects elasticity of supply. So the third point is number of producers. The more producers available to produce an output, the easier supply can be increased. Okay, so now we are going to answer the last part of this question 4. It says, state and explain 3 uses of price elasticity of demand to the producer. What are the 3 uses of price elasticity of demand? Number 1, it can tell the producer when to increase prices. So elasticity of demand can actually tell the producer when the producer have to increase his price. It can help the producer know how a change can affect his business. So we help the producer to know that how a change in demand can affect his business. Third, it helps producers to know how much they can produce at a given time. So this greatly helps producers to know how much they can produce in a given time. So that is the 3 uses of price elasticity of demand to the producer. So we have answered question number 4. So let's go to the last question, they say 5 of our revisions. So just as I said, you can actually download it from our website. There is a link at the description. You have up to question 8, but we have answered just 5 in this revision, right? We are right to question 8. So you can download the full revisions on our website. So let's go to question the last one, which is this. Okay, this is the one we choose. Okay, we have a lot of interesting topics here. Now it says, state and explain 4 features of a market economic system. I like this topic. Number 1, supply and demand. Larger supply of goods due to available demand, the lower the price will be. So if there's a larger supply of goods due to available demand, the lower the price is going to be. So larger demand, prices go down, and vice versa. Competitive economic forces. A market economy encourages competition. So that is one of the features of a market economy. The bottom line. Business owners in a market economy are often motivated by how much they make. So they are motivated by how much profit they make. They make a lot of profit, so they are really motivated. 4, less government intervention. The government does not dictate economic policies as in planned or social economic structures. So those are some of the features of a market economy system. Now we answer the last one, which is explain 3 advantages of a command economic system. What are the 3 advantages? Number 1, low levels of or elimination of unemployment. So 3 advantages of command economic system is that there is low levels or elimination of unemployment. Ensures access to basic necessities. Prevents monopolies by private businesses in crucial sectors like health and energy. So those are the 3 advantages of the command economic system. So we have answered that one. So the last one is explain 3 reasons why the government intervenes. Explain 3 reasons why the government intervenes in a mixed economy. Number 1, to prevent monopolies. So the first thing is to prevent monopolies. Number 2, to prevent discrimination. To prevent discrimination. Number 3, to prevent consumers. So the 3 reasons why the government intervenes in the mixed economy is that they have to prevent monopolies. See, we have a lot of large companies that take over the market to dominate. So the government come in, make sure that they don't monopolize the market. To prevent discrimination, so that there should not be discrimination, and to protect consumers. So those are the 3 points why the government, 3 reasons why the government intervenes in a mixed economic system. So this is the revisions what we had to do, the 5 questions we have to answer today. So well done guys, well done. So you can revise it, you can come after it to check again and see all the answers that we have given today. Okay, thank you for watching this video. It was a great one. I believe it has been of great help to you that's writing economics. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, because I come like this every day with documents, books, anything that will be of help to you, motivation, how to make money online. So thank you very much. Subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to give us a thumb up. Thank you.